freedom fighters who were responsible for this beautiful freedom. 10th May dawned bright and clear. Dawned means here began. So the day began very bright and clear. So why is 10th May special? This day is special because this was the day when the inaugural ceremony was going to take place. For the past few days, I had been pleasantly besieged by dignitaries and world leaders who were coming to pay their respects before the inauguration. So he's saying for the past few days, so before 10th May itself, for a few days, he was pleasantly besieged. Pleasantly means he was happily besieged, means surrounded by dignitaries. Who are dignitaries? People of importance, maybe leaders from other countries, etc. And world leaders who were coming to pay their respects before the inauguration. So many world leaders and dignitaries came to meet Nelson Mandela and give him his best wishes for the inaugural ceremony. So Nelson Mandela was feeling so happy because it was one of the most important days in his life. The inauguration would be the largest gathering ever of international leaders on South African soil. So he's saying that this day would see the biggest gathering of international leaders on South African soil. So until now there have not been such big gatherings. So he's saying that for the first time so many leaders from all over the world are going to gather on the South African soil. So leaders from all over the world would gather here just to take part in the inauguration ceremony. The ceremonies took place in the lovely sandstone amphitheatre formed by the Union buildings in Pretoria. So he's saying that the inaugural ceremony took place in the sandstone amphitheatre. Amphitheatre is nothing but an open area, an open theatre which is made by sandstone. Now sandstone is kind of a strong or a hard rock which is usually red, yellow or brown in color. So he's saying that this amphitheatre was located in Pretoria. Pretoria is the capital of South Africa. So for decades this land has been the seat of white supremacy. So what is a decade? A decade is a period of 10 years. So he's saying that for many years together this place was the seat of white supremacy. What is this white supremacy? That means the white people had reigned here. They had the upper hand here. They were the rulers here, and that's why they're saying that this place was the seat of whites, or it had white supremacy. And now it was the site of a rainbow gathering of different colors and nations. So he's saying that now this place has become the seat of rainbow gathering. That means people of different colors, caste and creed and nations are going to gather here just for participating in this beautiful inaugural ceremony and for the installation of South Africa's first democratic non-racial government. So he's saying that there's going to be a beautiful gathering here and they are going to participate in the installation of South Africa's first democratic non-racial government. So the government, non-racial government and a democratic government is going to be installed on this day with Mandela being the leader or president of the nation. So what do you mean by non-racial government? So it's a form of government where people are not going to be discriminated based on racial factors. So on that lovely autumn day, I was accompanied by my daughter Zenani. So he's saying that on that beautiful autumn day, his daughter Zenani was also with him. On the podium, Mr. D. Clark was first sworn in as the second deputy president. So Mr. D. Clark was sworn in, took his oath as the second deputy president. Then Thabo Mbeki was sworn in as the first deputy president. So first was Mr. D. Clark was sworn in as the second deputy president. Then Mr. Thabo Mbeki was sworn in as the first deputy president. When it was my turn, I pledged to obey and uphold the Constitution and to devote myself to the well-being of the Republic and its people. So when his turn came to take the oath, he pledged. Pledge means gave a solemn promise or committed himself that he would take care of the country and its people, and he'll also obey and uphold the rules laid down by the Constitution. To the assembled guests and the watching world, I said, today all of us do, by our presence here, confer glory and hope to newborn liberty. So, after taking his oath, he started giving his speech. So, in his speech, he says that all of them had gathered there for a common purpose, and that purpose was to give honor and respect to this newborn liberty, because liberty here means they were free from the white rule and now they are making their own government. So, that's why he's saying that they're all gathered there to honor their freedom. Out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster that lasted too long, must be born a society of which all humanity will be proud. So he is saying that out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster. So what is this extraordinary human disaster that they went through? The oppression by the whites on the blacks, how the blacks were treated, how they had no basic freedom at all. So he is saying that they had experienced all these for nearly 300 years. So after this struggle, now they had come out of that and they were free now, and they have formed a new society now. And he says that the entire South African people will be very proud of this kind of society which will be free from all these kinds of racial discriminations. So we who were outlaws not so long ago, so he's calling themselves as outlaws because he's saying that all the blacks were not given any protection by the white government. That's why he's calling them as outlaws. So he's saying that such people, that means the black people or the South African people who were living like outlaws for some time ago, now have been given the rare privilege to be the host to the nations of the world on our own soil. So he is saying that now the blacks have been given the special opportunity to be the host to the world leaders, especially on their own soil. So they have this opportunity to welcome and give this beautiful inaugural ceremony to the other leaders and other nations of the world, especially in their own land. We thank all our distinguished international guests for having come to take possession with the people of our country of what is, after all, a common victory for justice, peace, for human dignity. So, in his speech, Nelson Mandela is also thanking everyone, especially the international leaders, for joining them and in their celebration for their achievement. What is the achievement? The achievement is liberation from the whites. And this achievement, he says, is a step towards equal society where every human will be treated fairly without any kind of discrimination. So we have at last achieved our political emancipation. What is emancipation? Emancipation is liberty, especially the social and political and economical freedom. So they can form their own government and form their own society by framing a set of rules according to their wish. So he is saying that we have at last achieved our political emancipation. We pledge ourselves to liberate all our people from the continuing bondage of poverty. So he is swearing that he is promising that he will liberate all his people from this bondage of poverty. That means the people are bonded to being poor. So he is saying that he will remove them from this poverty and deprivation. What is deprivation? They do not get any benefits at all. So he is saying that that will also be taken care of. There will be no suffering and there will be no other gender or any other kind of discrimination among his people. So he is saying that never, never and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another. So he is saying that the people of this beautiful land will not experience oppression of one by another. What is oppression? Oppression means prolonged, cruel or unjust treatment, especially because of exercising the authority. So the whites oppress the blacks here in South Africa for almost 300 years. So he is saying that this will never happen again. The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. So he is saying that the sun will never set on this human achievement. What is the human achievement here? The freedom from the whites. So he is saying that the freedom will remain. Let freedom reign. God bless Africa. So he is saying that the freedom will continue and it will continue to rule the country, and he wants the God's blessings for his people. A few moments later, we all lifted our eyes in awe as a spectacular array of South African jets, helicopters, and troop carriers roared in perfect formation over the Union buildings. So, after his speech was over, a few minutes later, there was a spectacular show of the jets and helicopters. So, he says that they were forming very beautiful shapes over the Union buildings, and they all stood in awe. Awe means they were full of respect for the people who were in these jets or who were responsible for this kind of a spectacular show. So it symbolized perfection as well as the military's respect and obedience towards the free country and the democracy. So the arrangement of the fighter jets and the helicopters and the soldier transports etc. was so impressive that it raised everyone's heads up in the sky. Only moments before, the highest generals of the South African Defence Force and police, their chests bedecked with ribbons and medals from days gone by, saluted me and pledged their loyalty. So after the spectacular show, the highest generals, that means the leaders of the defence force and the police force, with their chests bedecked means decorated with various ribbons and medals from the past war and whatever they have participated in. So all these people with all these decorated medals and badges saluted me and pledged their loyalty. So all these people saluted the president, that is Nelson Mandela, and they also promised that they would be loyal to the country. I was not unmindful of the fact that so many years before they would not have saluted but arrested me. So he is saying that these people who are saluting me now would have arrested me years ago, especially during the days of the freedom struggle, because he was considered as one of the outlaws and he was against the white government. So now he is saluting, now these people are saluting him because he is the president of South Africa. But before he became the president, during the days of his struggle, he is saying that these people would have arrested me. Finally, a chevron of Impala jets left a smoke trail of black, red, green and gold of the new South African flag. So he's saying that finally the show ended when a chevron of Impala jets, that means Impala jets formed a chevron means V shape. They were flying in the shape of V and they left a smoke trail, that means trail means a path. Okay, and this path was made of red, green and blue and black and gold smoke. So these colors belong to the African flag. The day was symbolized for me by playing of our two national anthems and the vision of the white singing Nosi Sikelel E Africa and black singing Dai Stem, the old anthem of the Republic. So he is saying that the day was symbolized means he remembers the day because two national anthems, one of the whites and one of the blacks, were sung. And on that day, although the day neither group knew the lyrics of the anthem they once despised, they soon would know the words by heart. So he is saying that on that day, both of them, that is the blacks and the whites, did not know the wordings of each other's song because they hated each other. But he is saying that soon they would know them or learn them. On the day of the inauguration, I was overwhelmed with a sense of history. So overwhelmed here means having a strong emotional effect. So he is saying that on that day of inauguration, he was remembering about the past, especially when the days of that system called apartheid emerged. In the first decade of the 20th century, a few years after the bitter Anglo-Boer War and before my own birth, the white-skinned peoples of South Africa patched up their differences and erected a system of racial domination against the dark-skinned peoples of their own land. So Mandela is saying that even before he was born itself, these white people, they started this policy of apartheid. That means these white people started dominating the dark-skinned people and treating them very badly and depriving them even of their basic fundamental rights. So he is saying that this system created by the whites was one of the most cruelest and most inhuman kinds of system the world has ever seen. Now in the last decade of 20th century and my own 8th decade as a man, that system has been overturned forever and replaced by one that organizes the rights and freedoms of all people regardless of their color of the skin. So he is saying that this kind of system was formed in the first decade of the 20th century, and now he is saying that he is in the 8th decade. That means he is 80 years old, and now when he is 80 years old and as a man, he says that he has been able to overturn and replace this kind of cruel government